if you're not closing as many design agreements or construction projects as you want, there's a good chance that there's something missing within your presentation and your offer and your pitch. So what we're going to talk about today is the Remodeler's Design Offer, or RDO, and how that can dramatically increase your close rates. But we're going to break it down, all 5 components, everything that you need to actually craft and create one for yourself. So what we're talking about today is the Remodeler's Design Offer. Now, most remodelers that I see, and this applies to custom builders as well, you run your first appointment, and then in that appointment, your goal is to sell a design agreement. But that design agreement, when you hand it over to the homeowner and the prospect, it's just a stack of a bunch of terms and conditions, and there isn't a lot of value there. And you can explain the process and, hey, this is why we do design, but generally people are getting lost in all of the language and just the paragraphs of text, and it just doesn't seem that appealing. A lot of people throw up objections, why do I need to do that? Can't you just give me a ballpark, an estimate, all of those types of things? And yes, you can handle those objections and still have just kind of like that design agreement stack of paragraphs and everything. But what we're going to talk about today is actually how do we turn that into a nice, clean one-pager, a clear offer, something that has value baked in, and the whole thing is designed around how do we actually showcase the value that you are providing, because you're providing a ton of value through design, and we want our prospects to see that value. And so if you feel like you're going into those meetings and you're like, man, I have such a good process and design build makes so much sense, why won't anyone pay for it? This is for you. So let's dive into it. So there are several components that we want to include with our Remodeler's Design Offer. And the first thing is a unique name. And this may sound a little bit funny, but if you just have a standard design agreement, you sound like everybody else. But if you have a unique name, it starts to set you apart. It's a little detail, but it goes a long way. So I would encourage you to think about, what do you want to name your design process, and attach that name to your design offer, and this will separate you, because you will have something that if they are talking to 2 or 3 companies and they go, well, I mean, these 2 people, they just do a design agreement, it sounded like pretty similar, but wow, these guys, they had this buttoned up, unique process, it's branded, and so having that unique name goes a long way. But that is the first component. After that, we're going to have a set of clear deliverables. Man, I need to hit the gym more. These are sticky. All right, so clear deliverables. And so here you're going to list those out. And a lot of times when you're presenting your design agreement, you talk about the process and what you're going to do. Services can be a little bit amorphous for people that are purchasing services. And so what we want to do is try to turn your service, which is a design service, into a product. Products are a lot easier to buy, and products have defined attributes to them. And so that's what we're doing in this section with clear deliverables, is we want to say, hey, when you buy this unique name, and we'll get to pricing, for this price, you get these things here. Bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, and so on. And so these things are going to be like, 3D drawings. Working with our certified design team. You're going to get 3 rounds of revisions, and so on. These are not things that you have to change about your current process. You probably already deliver some of these things, probably other things. But we haven't just outlined them as, when you buy this, you get A, B, C, D, E. And so we want to just make it absolutely clear. So unique name, clear deliverables. The next thing, since we've already kind of mentioned it, we're just going to jump down to the bottom and we'll come back up. But this is a fixed price. And the reason we want a fixed price, I'll tell you a story. I was working with a remodeling company on this process, and I asked them a little bit about their current process and how they went about pitching design. And the owner of the company said, yep, when we're in that first meeting and we go through all of this stuff, and he's pulling out drawings and showing examples, and then he says the next step is to sign a design agreement. And the way we do our design is, I'm our senior designer, and so I bill at, X dollars per hour. I don't remember the exact figure, but it was, let's just say 200, 250, whatever. And then we have, our excellent designers is like one tier down, and those are $150 an hour. And then we have some junior designers, and we bill them out at, $90 an hour. Already, I was kind of like, whoa, this is confusing. I'm already lost. But then he said, and then we just charge by the hour. And so if your project's $100,000, he's like, typically it's about 7% of the project. But again, typically doesn't give the homeowner a lot of peace of mind. And so there were like two components there that were just fuzzy. One was like all the hourly rates. And in my head, I'm thinking, I just want the best designer working on my stuff. I don't want this like blended. And so you're going to get to an amazing design using all three of your designers. I'm not saying don't have tiers of designers. The customer doesn't need to know that. If the junior designers start and then the next designer takes over and then you come in and kind of review and do a final like, yep, this is perfect, all they really need to know is that they're going to get a design that matches what they're looking for. And so we don't need to explain all the back end. And so that part, we wanted to delete that part of it and just say like, hey, if you're not happy with the design, we have a satisfaction guarantee, and we'll talk about that in a second, but that's why we have 3 rounds of revisions. That's a clear deliverable, and so it gives them peace of mind that they're going to get what they want. Then the usually 7%, ooh, that doesn't feel good as a consumer. Like, is it going to be 7 or is it going to be 8 or is it going to be 9? Like, now I'm worried that this could just balloon and I'll just be stuck in design forever. So having a fixed price makes it, 1, a lot easier to buy, but 2, it gives them peace of mind. So you get these multiple benefits from having a fixed price. So we've got a unique name around our offer. We have clear deliverables. We have a set price. We're already starting to like tighten this up, but we can do a couple more things to make this even better. So we'll go with the dark blue. So the next thing we can do is we can add bonuses. Bonuses are used to enhance the value of this offer. So this could be something like, hey, we also include 4 hours of handyman work. If you have kind of a small projects division or a handyman on staff, like this is a super easy bonus, because this could be something like if you bill out your handyman at $200 an hour, this is like a $800 value, but on payroll, it's probably not, you're not paying $200 an hour, you might be paying half of that or a quarter of that. And so your actual hard cost is much less than $800, but now you can say this because this is truthful information about how you would bill this out. So it's $800 value, just included. This could be, actually that same company, they do something cool. They do appliances at cost. And so you could apply a certain value there. You could, let's see, what else could you could partner with some other local companies. And so you might say partner with a high-end restaurant and go to that restaurant and say, hey, anytime somebody becomes like a VIP customer of ours, they go into design, I'd love to give them a $100 gift card and send you a customer. And so you might be able to do that and say include a gift card, and that's $100. You might include a extended warranty, maybe plus 2 years, and that's going to be worth, whatever that is, 2 grand or something like that. And so get creative with your bonuses. I like if there's a way where you can add value, but at very low effort and low cost to you. What it starts to do is make this look like more and more of a no-brainer. So as an example, I think a common fixed price for a lot of design, you might find yourself sitting somewhere between 5K and 10K. It will depend. You'll have to price it right for your business. But if this is like 5 grand for a design, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting this extended warranty for 2 grand, this for 800, this has got 500, $1,000 worth of value. Like, you've almost got all of the value within the bonuses, but you're really coming for the design, which is what you want, which is like, hey, I want to see what this is going to look like. I want to get these 3D drawings. I want to work with your certified design team. I want to work with your selections team and pick everything out. I want to make sure that I'm happy with it. So we talk about our rounds of revisions. And so as you're going through this, you start to tighten up this kind of like amorphous design process and make it very clear and easy to digest. So we've got our unique name, we've got our clear deliverables, we've got our bonuses, we have a fixed price, but the other thing we can add in here is a guarantee. And so I think there are some nice ways to do this, but within the 3 rounds of revisions, you could qualify that as a satisfaction guarantee. We'll just put it G so I don't have to spell guarantee. But this is a great way to say, hey, we want you to be happy with this, right? So we're going to say our satisfaction guarantee includes 3 full rounds of revisions. We usually nail it on the first or second go, but just for your peace of mind, like, you still get 2 more rounds after that. And so we can make sure that you're happy with that. And so you could also do something around speed. And so you might have, like a 4-week turnaround. We'll just roll with this G, guarantee right here. And so you're saying, hey, if we don't give it to you in 4 weeks, we'll refund you. We'll pay you back. I would, if you're going to do something like this, just pick whatever you're confident you can nail every time. So if you're like 4 is like pretty good, make it 5 and then deliver in 3 or 4 most of the time. People will be pleased because you guaranteed that turnaround time. But this is speed, which people love, and so they go, oh, okay, this isn't just going to get dragged on forever, right? I know exactly what I'm getting in my clear deliverables. I know I'm going to be happy with it because they have this 3-round process where they make sure that I'm happy with the design. Look at all these cool bonuses that I get. I wasn't expecting those, and wow, those add up to a lot of value compared to what I'm paying. And they're guaranteeing a timeline. I know as soon as I start this process, a month later, I'm going to have the design, and I'm super happy with it. Now, from here, you've got your basic components, but we're going to layer in a couple of other things that can really help advance the sale. And so let's go orange. We'll see if we can use the whole color set here. So we want to talk about a couple of things, and we'll go urgency and scarcity. And so urgency, you've probably had the scenario where you present the design agreement, you leave them with the stack of paperwork, whatever it is, and you're going to follow up. Or they say, hey, we need a couple days to think about this, or a week to think about it. And then it kind of just floats out there. You call them, you follow up, you text. Maybe they say, hey, we're still thinking about it. Maybe they ghost you. But it kind of gets stuck in this limbo land. They know they want to do the project. You know they want to do the project, but they're just kind of sitting there. That's where baking in some urgency can really help move the sale along. You'll actually lose less deals this way too, because the more time people just kind of sit in limbo, the more of those just turn up and they just go away, or they end up going with someone else. We want to make sure, hey, we've got this opportunity right in front of us. Let's move this sale along, get the person to make the decision, whether it's yes or no. And so that's where we can look at urgency. Okay, so what can we do to speed this up? I think, I mean, you can get very creative in this area, but a very simple one is, hey, if you move forward in, and you can do 24 hours, you could do 48 hours, we will credit design to the build. And so, hey, you spent $5,000 on design. If you know you're ready to do this project, like, this really helps us from a planning perspective. If you are ready to make your decision in the next 1 day, 2 days, whatever you choose, we'll actually credit design. And the reason we do that is it helps us plan and be more efficient. And so we like to reward people that help us help our business. And so that can be a nice way of explaining like why you have this urgency. There's like a real reason behind why you would credit it only within this time frame. And it doesn't just seem like this random thing. But that can be really motivating for somebody to say, well, gosh, if we're going to do the build anyway, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that I get $5,000 for free. Plus I get all these bonuses. And you may be thinking, oh, I don't want to do design for free, and all of that. And I would encourage you to think about, this $5,000 or whatever you charge. What is your true cost? Because it's not $5,000. You've probably got some gross margin and profit baked into this. And so it might be half of that. It might be a quarter of that. So this might be $2,500 to do the design work in-house with your internal team time, or it might be $2,000. And so you're not crediting $5,000, you're crediting $2,000 of hard costs. And if out of 10 deals, 10 opportunities, if you're closing, 15, 20%, and we're saying, hey, if we start to package this up and we can really ramp up our conversion rate, like you might be able to get up to 25 or 30%, you might be able to double your close rate from 15 to 30, or you might be able to increase it by 50%. So again, take your revenue, multiply it by 50% more, and then go, yeah, is it worth maybe like crediting $2,000 on 10 deals and spending $20,000 to get 50% more revenue? Now, of course, I don't know how much your close rate will increase, but I do know that if you make your offer more compelling, you will close more sales. So urgency is something that we want to bake into this process, and it doesn't have to be a weird thing, and it doesn't have to be pushy, right? We can just say, hey, it really helps us plan when people make their decision quickly. So we like to reward those people that are just ready to go. If you're ready within the next 48 hours, if you say, cool, I'm ready, and you sign the design agreement, we'll actually credit the full design price towards your build. Pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about scarcity. There is a very real possibility that you have limited design slots available in your business. I would assume that if I gave you 1,000 projects today, you probably could not start them all. And so maybe you can start 2 every month. Maybe you can start 4. Maybe you can start 6. Whatever that number is, you can use that to your advantage. And you can show that you are in demand, and you can limit the supply of the design work that is in front of this homeowner. And so you can say we have 2 slots open right now. And so if you're in, April, and it's the middle of the month, and you're booked up for design, you could say, hey, we kick off 2 designs a month. We're actually booked right now for April, but we do still have both of our slots open for May. And so you'd say we have 2 slots open in, month. Would you like one of those slots? And if they say yes, then great, you've signed the deal. If they say, I'm still not sure, then you can say, no worries. Tell you what, if you are seriously considering this project, I can hold one of those slots for 48 hours. That way you can talk about it with your spouse. You guys can think about it, get back to me. I'll pencil you in. But after 48 hours, if you're still not ready to move forward, I'll have to release that slot to somebody else that may want to be moving forward with that. Do you guys want me to pencil you in and I can just check back in a couple of days? So that's how we can use scarcity to, again, condense that buying window and just shorten it up. So we use the same time frame here to say, hey, if you're a fast mover, we'll credit design. But then we're also saying, hey, if you don't move quickly, you may lose your spot and we may have to punt you, right? And obviously this, you just want it to be whatever it is and the true information. And so if you have 2 spots a month, 2. If you have 4, 4. If you've booked 2 out of 4, then say, hey, we have 4, but 2 are taken. We have 2 left. And so this is something that whoever's in sales, they just need to be communicating with the design team so that they always know, hey, I'm about to go into a meeting where somebody could potentially close. I want to know how many spots do we have left for which months. And that way you can use this ethically. And that's what we want to be doing. And so as we look at this entire thing, the whole goal behind this whole system and why do we want to take the time and effort to just package this up and bake it in is we want to work on our close rate, right? And so if you have your first meeting, first appointment, and you close 20% into design right now, and you're just kind of using a stack of paper, you don't have a lot of clear deliverables, you don't have a fixed price, you don't have a unique name, you don't have bonuses, you're not using urgency or scarcity in this process, then I would ask you to imagine what it would be like, how many more people would move forward if you did have this packaged up. And if you can get this even just up, from 20 to 25%, not a huge lift. That's actually 5% more on that is a 25% increase in the number of people that are coming through, right? We went from 20, and if we take 5 more percent, 5 into 20 is 25%. And so again, if we just look at this a little bit differently, in scenario 1, you have 10 first meetings and you close 2, 20%. In this scenario, you close 2.5, and over 2 months, that's 4 and 5. And so this is where you get that 20% lift. And so if you look at your current revenue and your current sales velocity, you say, hey, I did $1 million. What would that look like if it increased 25%? 1.25. And so this can add up to a lot of dollars. It will also add up to a lot of saved time, because through these things, you'll get people to move quicker and you won't be stuck in limbo land just following up with all of these people that have not made their decision. So let's not forget why we're doing this, and there's a big potential payoff at the end of packaging this up. So if you're watching this and you're saying, okay, I'm going to give this a go, I'll put together my own Remodeler's Design Offer, or as we call it, the RDO, I need a unique name. So let's start brainstorming. How could I make this either branded to me or a process or just something that will stand out and really appeal to my customers? I'm going to just take what I already do and turn it into clear deliverables. You don't even need to change your service or your process to do this. Now, you might, through this process, say, ooh, this is actually really valuable to homeowners. We could just add this as a bullet, and that's an easy thing to change about our service. But you don't even need to do that. You can just use what you're already doing. This section, you may have 1 or 2 things that you do now that instead of a deliverable, you make it a bonus, like the extended warranty. Maybe you have a 5-year warranty, the best warranty in town. You could say standard warranty and then extended warranty here. So maybe you say, hey, everyone in town kind of does the 3-year warranty, but if you move forward with the project, you're going to get plus 2 years. So that can be a way of breaking that out into a bonus. In terms of like handyman work or at-cost appliances or partnering with other local businesses to like get gift cards and say, hey, I'd love to send you customers. When I get customers, would you be willing to give me a gift card that I can give to them as kind of a VIP? That takes a little more effort and work, so you may not start with that. I would say start with what you can and have 1 to 3 really strong bonuses. Hopefully the value gets close to this or even above the fixed price. So we got bonuses. Think about some guarantees that you can include. So whether that's speed or satisfaction or anything else. Actually, I forgot I think one of the best clear deliverables that you can put in here is actually just fixed price on the build. And so people know, hey, by doing this design process, I'm ensuring I know my fixed price for my construction project when I move forward with that. But then as you've moved through here, you also have a fixed price for your Remodeler's Design Offer. Then after that, I would encourage you to put these into your process. So we want to have urgency, pick your time frame. Hey, I'll credit this towards the build if you move forward within 2 days. You also don't have to credit this. If you're like, I don't want to credit this, just think of something else that you will do for them if they move forward in 48 hours. And so you can get creative in terms of how you use that. I think that one can be really powerful though. And then scarcity. How many spots do you have? Just tell the real number, how many spots you have, and then just say, hey, I will hold your spot for the next 48 hours. If you just need a couple days to think about it or check budget or whatever it is, or talk about it without me here. But after that, I need to open it up to somebody else that may want that spot. So those are the components. If you do this, you got a lot of potential opportunity here to increase your close rates. And so I hope that you will take this information and work on your Remodeler's Design Offer. All right, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.